All right, congratulations, guys. You have made it to the last lesson of this first unit. Woo! Although some of you are like, uh-oh, I know what that means. Yeah, there's probably going to be a test. We're also going to have another evidence of learning, but we'll cover that in a little bit. So anyway, let's look at this last lesson. Make sure we know all the material covered. Awesome. And then we got some practice for you guys to take care of, and then we'll kind of keep going. So, consider a square root. Today's lesson is going to be the application of square roots. So how do we use square roots to help us, right? Like, why do we even care? Because again, in math, end of the day, my goal is going to be so that you guys understand why are we learning this, okay? Most of the time, there is a real world application. Sometimes, though, it's more about the problem solving and the critical thinking skills that you guys are going to develop. So in this unit, we're actually able to use it, right? We can pretend there's a garden or a project, that we're building. We need to know how much area we have, and vice versa. Okay. So first example, we're just going to get kind of right into it. Is going to be considering a square that has an area of 0.85 meters, determine its side length. Well, we have two questions that we kind of need to answer first, so that we know why we're able to use these square roots to solve our problem. So what do we know about the sides of a square? Well, we know that all sides of a square are equal. Okay, so this side is the same as this, is the same as this, the same as this. So we always have all sides equal. Okay, and then we will end up with, what is the formula for the area of a square? Well, usually we go length times width, or width times length, or base times height. Some form where basically we're multiplying the two sides. Okay, I usually go length times width equals area. Area. Okay, and so we can use this to solve all of our problems. Okay, so the first step we're going to do here, though, is we're going to determine consider a square that has blah blah, determine side lengths. Okay, so if we have the area, we can simply square root it, right? Because no matter what, if we go length times width, that's the same as like length times length or width times width, because all of the sides are the same. So what does a square root do? It helps find what number times itself equals that. So if we take the square root of 0.85, right, into our calculators, square root of 0.85, okay, and this gives us a firm answer of 0.92. Right? I usually round off to 2 decimal points, especially if that's how many decimal points they gave you in the problem. And so at the end, it would be 0.92 meters, okay, in length or width. It doesn't matter, right? It's a square, so all sides are equal. Okay, let's go on to number 2. Okay, so a square has a side length of 4.33 centimeters. Calculate the area of the square. Well, if all the sides are the same, 4.3, 4.3, right? And we can just multiply those two numbers together. So 4.3 times 4.3 is going to give us our answer of 18.49 when we round it off. Okay, you could go to 1 decimal point, 18.5, that would be an acceptable answer as well. But just make sure you are rounding properly if you do, right? If this is 4.8 or something like that, I'm not sure what the exact digits were, but you want to make sure you're rounding off appropriately. Ta-da, that's our answer. That's the area, right, of our square. And centimeters square, right? This centimeter square is very helpful, so I know you know this is your final answer, okay? All right, let's move it on. All right, the last thing we're going to be looking at is the Pythagorean theorem, right? Because we're talking about squares and square roots, which has to do a lot with this. We will be using some of this in application, and again, Pythagorean theorem, although you don't always realize it, does have some applications, especially in the building industry. Okay, and so that's what we're going to look at. So always use the formula a squared plus b squared equals c squared, right? Unless you're missing one of these side lengths, then you're going to flip this around, and it's going to be a squared equals c squared minus b squared. But we're not going to do that today. We will look at that in a later lesson. So let's get going here. So first thing we'll do, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, I'll just make this a and b. It doesn't matter if this is a, this is b, or this is a and this is b. It'll give you the same answer at the end of the day. Okay, so then we're just going to replace things. 5 squared plus 8 squared is equal to c squared. 25 plus 64, because this is 25 squared is 25. 8 squared is 64 is equal to c squared. Okay, move this down a little bit for you guys. Okay, then we can add these together. We end up with 89 is equal to c squared, but we just want c, right? This is going to be our c, our missing length. And so what we'll do is we'll square root both to cancel out the square, and that'll simplify things over here. So we end up with 9.43 equals c, and that's our answer. Okay. Last one, let's finish this up, and then we're done. Awesome, exciting. Okay, do it over here just so we don't mix it up too much. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. So if this is a and this is b, we go 12 squared plus 15 squared equals c squared. So 12 squared is 144 plus 15 squared is 225 equals c squared. Add those together, and we get 369 equals c squared. And again, we want just c as our missing length. So we're going to square root both of these sides. Okay. So square root of c squared is c, and the square root of 369 is 19.21. Awesome. That's it, guys. That's all I have. I'll cover you in a bit, and we'll see you soon.